let's talk a little bit about the types of retirement plans or what you're going to depend on in terms of your retirement. So we just went over, I talked a lot about in depth about Social Security. So you should know that. Go pull your Social Security statement, pull it every year. When you get your W-2 statement that tells you this is how much money you made this year, then you want to check it against your Social Security statement and make sure it's identified. Because people make mistakes, we make mistakes, all things can happen. So you want to make sure those numbers line up. Do you understand what do you have waiting in the wings for you? So if you have pensions, and please, there's a lot of definition here to help you understand what these different options are. So pensions, basically, anyone in here have a pension at their job? They're going away. So it's a beautiful thing if you do have a pension, because typically you don't have to pay into it. Usually your company pays into it. And then it basically identifies, these are the contributions that are made, typically by your employer, and they're just exchanging loyalty for service. So they pay into it, and you have these opportunities then, though, to decide how much money you're going to get for the rest of your life. So it basically, if you're going to get a Social Security check, that Social Security is a consistent amount of money that you can depend on. Hopefully it doesn't change depending on what happens with Social Security laws, but you can at least plan for that. A pension is right up under there. If you have the luxury of having a pension, then you know there's a fixed amount of money that you can count on. So when you do your FIRE number, those two numbers get multiplied by 25. And if your FIRE number is $1 million, okay, this is how much I'm getting from Social Security, subtract that from $1 million, this is how much I'm getting from my pension, subtract that from $1 million, this is what I have left to try to accumulate to get to my FIRE number. So you do have an option though with your pension. So if you have a pension, go ahead and start talking to your plan providers now so that you can start making decisions. You have the option, do you want to receive the highest amount? And when you die, it goes away. Or you can have a spousal selection that says, if you take a lesser amount today, when you pass away, your spouse will receive your benefits for X number of years. And then you can choose, if I receive this amount, they get it for 10 years. If I choose this amount, they get it for 20 years. So I choose this amount, I get it for 30 years. So you get to plan with your spouse, okay, what do you have going on? What do you need? Can I get 100% or do I need to provide for you? Like, those are decisions and discussions that you have to make. And again, if you're doing IRAs and other streams of income, that's important to know to make an informed decision here. The other piece is sometimes you may have the option to, they calculate what you've used, because that pension money, they're putting in a certain amount and it's accumulating interest over time. So there's a pot of money that is being pulled from. So they may say, oh, you would have gotten this amount if you had lived the projected amount. So when you pass away, this lump sum can go to your spouse. And then if you choose that option, this is how much you'll get per month. So understand your options and make conscientious decisions based on your situation. You know, annuities for the people who just want to keep life simple and want to have another stream of income that they don't have to worry about watching and moving, annuities might be for you. It's very similar to a pension. It's just that you get to activate it. So, annuity can act like a pension. Actually, most pensions are funded by annuities. Oftentimes when people hit the lottery, they tell them, do you want us to put it in an annuity? It's a way to have a stream of income, because none of us know exactly when we may pass away. And when you have money that you're pulling out of, I mean, because I plan to live to be 121, so it would be nice for me to have a consistent stream of income until I'm 121 and I don't have to worry about the market. But, you know, I asked you to pick that number, like, how old is the oldest living person in your family? The oldest living man, the oldest living woman. That's likely to be your longevity age. So you decide, you know, if I have $500,000, you can run a calculator. If I'm going to live off of 3, 5, 10% of that, how long will it really last me? Will it last me until I'm 80? Will it last me until I'm 90? And then I'm living, you know, everybody in my family live to be 100. You may not care, like, how much money you have if you're 90. So those are some things that you just need to think about, and pensions can be a very simplistic way if you just like don't want to do all the other things. I just say have streams of income and streams of income that you can depend on, and this could potentially fit in. So it acts like a pension. Sometimes they refer to as retirement annuity. It's a paycheck for life, and it's a good strategy because it does provide flexibility. Now, typically things that are safe and things that are conservative pay lower interest or returns, a lower profit. So again, it's about the what you're gonna do with Carolyn. So you're gonna get on a merry-go-round, or you're gonna get on a thing that go like this, or you're gonna get on a thing that goes like this. Like that's the decision that you have to make, and that's the decision you make with annuity. If you want to create a pension for yourself, and some people what they do is another strategy is if I'm close to retire, if I'm planning on retiring at 60, then I may invest very aggressively in the stock market until I am 50. And then I take most of my earnings and I put it in an annuity, and then I'm going to activate it at 60 and give myself a stream of income for the rest of my life. So I've taken advantage of the best of the market when I didn't need to use my money. And now I'm 10 years away from wanting to use my money. So I take it from earning 8, 10, 15% because to earn that kind of interest over time, you're gonna have to stay in the market for like 20 years. So if you don't have that kind of time, then you may want to be very, very aggressive and peel off. So if I have a good year where it's like, oh, I earned 20%, I may want to peel that off and put it in annuity so that can stay safe, and then let the rest ride. The next year, I only, had a 4% return on investment or 8%. So I may want to let my money sit in longer to increase the amount of percentage return that I'm getting and peel it off. So those are things that you just kind of need to think about, because when that whole deal where people were like, oh, I lost all my money and now I can't retire, it was because you shouldn't have your money invested in a very aggressive stock if you're going to need your money within the next 5 years, because stocks will plummet at some time and you need time for it to build back up. One rule of thumb, since the Great Depression, you can pick any 20-year period in history, and the stock market on average, if you look at an index fund or S&P fund, and we'll talk about what those are, it has earned at least 8% in any 20-year period. So if I go from 1972 to 1992, it has at least performed 8%. Test it out. So that tells me that if I have 20 years to invest, I know I can at least make 8% if I'm going to let my money ride for 20 years.
Okay.
So that kind of takes a little bit of the angst away from people in terms of investing.
Question.
Yes.
So, because for the not so intellectual like myself, because you just used a lot of new terms and some numbers, and when that didn't glaze. So, an annuity is an insurance policy.
Yes.
Okay. And so it is guaranteed to pay me back a certain amount of money, probably less than the stock market.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm drawing from it now. When I go on to be with the Lord, it's still a life insurance policy for whomever I leave it to.
Okay. So let's stop there.
Okay.
It acts just like a pension. So those 3 options I gave you for a pension are the same 3 options you have for an annuity.
Okay.
So it doesn't just pay. Now there may be some, and you have to research. There are so many annuities out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to research. There are some that say at a certain period of time, or if you pass away, you can have a death benefit of this amount. That may be the case. And typically what they're doing is, so you have what you call a single premium life insurance policy. That means that I can take $25,000, dump it in a life insurance policy, and it'll give me a death benefit of maybe $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they would do with the pension. They'll take the lump sum that you did not collect before you passed away, they dump it into a life insurance policy and create a life insurance policy that pays you certain death benefit.
Okay.
So to your point, life insurance policies is an insurance policy against you dying sooner than you expected, Annuity is like a life insurance policy against you living longer than you expected.
Okay.
So that's a good way to look at it. Okay? Great question, though. Thank you for breaking it down. Any other questions about annuities? And you can put money in annuity just like you put money in a 401k. You can do lump sum dumps. There are lots of different options.
And it's very safe. It's guaranteed.
It is guaranteed.
So it's for those of us who like to walk around the amusement park and watch everybody scream.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And it'll tell you exactly. So it'll say, if I put $100,000 in here, it tells you you're gonna get $1,500 a month for the rest of your life. So it's not like so when you're investing, you don't really know what your return is gonna be. You're doing a lot of projections. You're looking at history and making projections and assumptions. So there's likelihoods and almost guarantees, but it's not a guarantee. And you gotta watch it and you gotta maneuver a little bit. Annuities are put $100,000 in, get $1,500 out. Guaranteed, rest of your life. ABC. So if that's how, and my point is, it's not, you should never be convinced to do something that you don't feel comfortable with and that you don't understand. And my point is, if you just, and I always encourage people, get in groups, listen, learn to the point where you feel comfortable, but you can do something else in the interim while you're getting comfortable, while you're learning. So there are safe things that you can do, so you're just like not doing anything. So that's the whole point, is that if you're about safety and you're concerned and you're still learning, still do something in the wait that's earning you interest.